For 90 years, the Dayton Foundation has been helping people help others in our community. Please listen as we share 6 stories of how people like you have utilized the Dayton Foundation to enrich the lives of so many in our community.
In the early 1990s, unemployment hit Montgomery County young adults hard. John Moore Sr. identified with them as a person who grew up with few economic resources and limited opportunity. He knew that finding gainful employment in this situation can be a formidable challenge.
My family was poor, but prideful. When I came back from the war, I took advantage of the GI Bill, and I went to the University of Dayton for 9 years at night while I worked. And at the same time, I still understood the struggle and the need for help and assistance. Part of what we observed was the fact that our welfare system was holding people back, and that they needed to have an opportunity, not punishment, but an opportunity to become self-sustaining. And it was at that time, at a national level, we had the national reform of the welfare system, and that was an additional impetus for us. We can't forget the real contribution that the Dayton Foundation has made to this whole effort by bringing people and organizations together, and individuals like me into the challenge, so that we can do whatever we can to help others.
John and Fred Smith, a fellow donor and past Dayton Foundation board chair, were among the first to step forward to begin the change that was needed. They worked through the Dayton Foundation and the Self-Sufficiency Task Force and lobbied for changes that would enable people to get off welfare or come back from a job layoff or family tragedy. They found it would take no less than social reform at the state and local levels, and a decade of focus, patience, and persistence, as Fred liked to say. The ultimate solution was the Job Center, which today houses 47 separate agencies, providing coordinated help toward gainful employment and a better life for an estimated 2,500 people a day, 3 million people in total since 1997. Sharice Haynes, who lost her job at General Motors, knows firsthand the impact the Job Center can have on a family's life.
The Job Center was an excellent place for its services. It provided me an opportunity to retrain, go back to school, and to also look for employment. Because of the economic times that we are facing at this time, I think it would have been pretty much almost impossible for me to find a job and to support my family, which I have a young son, without using the Job Center and its services.
Passing Frank Crosthwaite on the street, you might have mistaken him for a homeless person, never sensing the man's incredibly generous heart or his plans for the community's future. Born in 1930 in Dry Ridge, Kentucky, Frank moved to Dayton after his parents died, worked as a brakeman for the B&O Railroad, and remained in the area until his death.
Frank treated everyone exactly the same, whether they were a CEO or somebody waiting for a bus. He owned almost nothing. He had one set of clothes. He had what he called a sleeping room and a box of photographs, letters, and investment statements. And that was it. No one would have guessed that he was a millionaire by the end of his life several times over. He didn't have any of the material things that most of us would consider necessities. But because his father left him a small investment portfolio and because he didn't spend anything that he didn't have to spend, by the end of his life it became a large investment portfolio. Dayton made Frank a home, Early in his career, he was worked on the railroads, and by definition, somebody that's out on the train all the time is not going to have a home. So downtown Dayton became his home, and the people that he met there became his family. And people that Frank never met are benefiting from his attempt to pay back, to put back something into a community that accepted him, as eccentric as he was, as strange a character as he would appear. Frank would have liked it, that community was getting something back from him. He liked to walk the street and meet people and surprise them with his gifts. Well, I think Frank would have liked that someone got a check from the Frank Crosthwaite Fund and they would say, "Frank Crosthwaite? Who's that?"
Frank's legacy became a nearly $2 million endowment at the Dayton Foundation to help Daytonians for decades to come. One of his great community gifts was to Children's Medical Center, now Dayton Children's, to help create a triage program that would save children's lives.
One of the most important things that the Frank Crosthwaite Fund was able to do for us was to help us build a triage area, which was the very most important, one of the most important parts of the child's care, and it's their initial care, so that when that parent comes in and they're frantic, they've brought their very sick child, they know that they're going to get the quickest and the best possible assessment, so that we can determine how ill their child is, and if they need to, deliver life-saving measures.
We didn't know really what was going on when we first got there. We just knew something was wrong with her left lung. They couldn't see anything on the left side of her body. And so I really didn't know what was happening. If they had not found this tumor, it was right up against her heart. It had already moved her esophagus over to the right. If they had not have found it, I mean, it was definitely life-threatening. Without a doubt, they did save her life.
The Dayton region has dozens of wonderful environmental organizations, but had no coordinated way to share information and partner on grant applications to bring additional funding to our community. Through Greater Dayton Partners for the Environment, initiated by the Dayton Foundation in collaboration with others, our region's environmental organizations will be better able to preserve our rich natural resources. Irv Beezer Jr. is a donor and steering committee member of the Dayton Foundation's Greater Dayton Conservation Fund. As a person who cares deeply about the environment, he sees great benefit in the Foundation's new initiative, Greater Dayton Partners for the Environment.
The Dayton Foundation has within it the Greater Dayton Conservation Fund and now a new organization called the Greater Dayton Partners for the Environment. And these will carry out a lot of environmental initiatives and improvements. And I think working together, we're going to make a great difference and a large improvement in the environmental future of this region. We have great environmental resources in our rivers, in our aquifer, in our forests, and we can show off that the Dayton region has to take second place to no one.
Krista McGaw, who heads the Tecumseh Land Trust and is one of the participants in Greater Dayton Partners, agrees.
Our future's vulnerable. We have to really work to preserve these resources or they just won't be here. So I think to work together with this wonderful collaboration of conservation groups with the leadership of the Dayton Foundation, we're so much more likely to be able to get that message out in hopefully every public school and every home, because that's where all of our futures lie.